So dodging, of course, topic skills house and action skill sets of agile class such as rogues and fighters, but we have seen rolling, actually per this actual little video right here, and he's a tank. So I think, to me, it almost seems like rolling is going to be universal for the most part. I wouldn't see why it wouldn't be. Active blocking, which I get that. You would see that from the original one where he's just kind of standing there. So he's a shield, so you'll see block, 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 evade, blah, blah, block, evade. Dark Souls, the MMO, right? Interrupts. Of course, everyone knows what interrupts are. Missy, you're supposed to interrupt me. That was your cue. So Bulwark, of course. Boo. See, Missy, Chris booing you. Ice Sheet.
Don't boo me, Chris. I'm being nice.
Onslaught, Quake. Rush, Shield Might. Boo to Brad. Woohoo. For the dad jokes.
Boo to Brad.
No, Missy did that last week. I started to go and she was like, what? She was like, interrupts? Since I was waiting for her again, but...
Well, I don't like to repeat myself, you know. My shtick is different every week.
Your shtick?
My shtick.
Your shtick.
My shtick.
Alright, aggro abilities. As we know what aggro abilities are, they generate hate, threat. Pretty much all of these, from what I can tell, are just tank-based. So we'll see what they do about other classes, because supposedly they said, you know, you can pretty much tank as other classes too. So, because to me, I hope not, you know, crossing our fingers here, that if you want to tank, you have to just be a tank. You know what I mean? I mean, is it the end of the world? No. But having the variety, like if you can be a mage tank like Missy wants to be, I know she really wants to be that, you know, she could be able to do that, you know. Or if Chris wants to be, you know, like a cat girl, you know, wielding a claymore, wearing a bikini.
There aren't going to be cat girls.
Well, he could always have a female character, and then they'll sell cat ears. You know they're going to probably do it. So, at some point, then he'll be good to go. So, let's see here. Animation canceling. So I think, and of course, Lore wasn't here. He has been here for a couple weeks. We'll have to hit him up, Missy. He was asking about animation canceling will not be a combat mechanic. So to me, we're still kind of up in the air on what that actually truly means. Like, I don't think it needs to be a mechanic. I think it just needs to stop. Because, like, if I move my character, you know, the animation should cancel itself. But I don't know. I don't know, Missy, do you remember? I had never played. I've only played Dragoon a little bit, Lancer. That's the only class I could think of from Final Fantasy XIV that had a really long animation lock. But I can't remember if you just move or press exit, like the pole dancer. Yeah. Yeah, that is one, yeah. You can't exit the animation? Yeah. I mean, it happens quickly, I mean, but then it doesn't happen quick enough. But yeah, I mean, you seem like you get through. I know they've been working on trying to make them shorter. So quickly, RNG elements pertain to combat related to stats such as crit hit, evasion, blocking chance. RNG plays a role in PvP or PvE. Action combat is far less dependent on RNG, which you read that last week. So if you're, you know, so what Missy wants to play, tab targeting, she's going to be dealing with a lot more RNG than if I were to actually go to the head of the beast and cut it off while she's trying to aim for the head of the beast. So
I'm just going to be in the corner gathering shit. That's what I'm doing. Like, carry on with the fighting.
Right. Should we?
Step on the flowers.
So what do you think, Missy?
Get off my wrong.
You think we should go over primary skills again? Or is there anything that you would like to reassess in primary skills?
No.
Okay.
I'm reading through it. I'm kind of looking through it. I'm like, we went through this before.
Yeah. So skill points. You have your skill trees. You won't be able to complete out a whole tree or all of them. So you'd be kind of like piecing a little bit. So you have passive skills, active skills, weapon skills. So your passive and active skills will pretty much dictate your gameplay if you're going to be action oriented or target or tap target practically. Let's see.
One thing I do like though is that you are able to reset and reallocate your skill points. In some games, once you pick those, you're stuck with them.
Yeah, or it's a pain in the ass to pick it back up or change them.
Yeah.
Like I remember WoW was expensive when I first started playing to reset your skills. So of course you guys will each class will have ultimate skills. So Hell of Arrows. The way that I'm thinking about this is just gonna be a big old AoE area, and then it's just like whoosh, coming down.
It'll be raining arrows.
Yeah. Quake, to me, it would be cool if they could, like, if you were, because this is a mage attack, if like it actually showed the ground kind of like breaking up to that point, and then it goes, you know, like I think that'd be
Well, it looks
cool.
like it's going to do something, because it says cast this spell to split the earth itself before you. So I would hope that there was an animation of that.
Yeah, I think I've seen it. Like it looks like the ground's just like all split in that area that you've, yeah. But it'd be cool if
out and cracks.
Yeah, but it'd be cool if like say Missy, you're standing there and then you cast it and like from your feet, it cracks all the way to that area and then it goes. Congrats, Chris, on the Twilight Drake. Now you need to go run Dragon Soul so you can get a couple of those other drakes in there. Righteous Fury. I think that was actually
Twilight Drake.
Right. Righteous Fury, that one is, I think, tank as well. No, Righteous Fury was... was that, pulls to, yeah, that was a tank one. Because it pulls all the targets to you. But because the ultimate defense, that was the other one I was like, so I guess tank technically actually has 2 ultimate abilities. Elemental skills. Let's see, the Apocalypse. So the Arch Lightning. Elemental passive, so I think that's pretty cool, because you elemental damage, the more mage changes their elemental type, so you do more damage if you actually flip through your actual elements. So you almost probably want to do like electric spell, a water spell, a fire spell, an ice spell.
Black Mage does that in Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Like in the rotation, you use them all.
You burn all your MP up with fire, and then you restore it with ice. Flame Line. This one, I think, to be honest, guys, I think they actually show this in our video that we're going to be watching from a ranger. Ice Prison, Ice Sheet, Implosion, Quake. Alright. So, we already talked about this, so Missy, let's go ahead and do balancing, because I think a lot of people are still kind of like, how are you going to balance 64 classes? So,
right.
Take it away, Miss A.
Okay. The 64 classes are partitioned into 8 primary archetypes. Balancing of active skills only relates to these 8 primary archetypes. There are 4 primary groups of augments assigned to each base archetype. Balancing of augments relates to the 4 augment groups for each of the 8 archetypes. Even though augments do radically change the way your active skills provide you abilities, there's still a primary focus on the base archetype itself and not the 64 whole classes. We're not really talking about 64 true classes. We're talking about 8 classes with 64 variants. There isn't as much variance between the 64 classes as you might expect. It's not like there are, 64 different versions of radically different classes. Balancing in Ashes of Creation is group focused, not based on 1 versus 1 combat. There will be matchups in 1 versus 1s where one class will be superior to another, and that application should be a rock, paper, scissors dynamic. We want there to be counterplay between the different classes. Instead, it's going to be a group-focused balance, where as long as you have the diversity of classes present, that's going to be an equal level playing field. It's going to be very dependent on skill and strategy. Certain secondary archetypes are capable of bridging the gap between their counterpart. Certain archetypes are capable of moving the gap between their counterpart per se. If I'm a tank archetype and a mage is my counter, I can take a mage secondary and kind of bridge the divide slightly, and then move my identity that direction ever so slightly. So that's cool. So there's not going to be one, like in player versus player, where one class is going to keep beating down another one.
Right.
So now, like as a warlock, as an affliction warlock in World of Warcraft, PvP, you know, we could like really make it difficult for people in PvP.
Yeah.
So there's not, you know, people like were afraid of really good combat warlocks because you can't move. They keep, you know, chaining you and holding you, and yeah. It sounds like it's not going to be like that. There's not going to be a class that you're going to fear. Everything, like you said, is rock, paper, scissors. So nothing's going to be like, okay, I got to play that because I'm going to kick everybody's ass, right?
Mm-hmm.
As this spec.
Right.
So that's kind of cool. It's going to have to just be skill.
Well, for the most part, from what we've seen, mage has a lot of, you know, stuns and snares, but a lot of this, but ranger pretty much counteracts that. Like you break out a lot of CCs and stuff like that with the ranger.
However, we're going to be a little bit scary if there's no rangers around.
Right. Right. You know, according to our video, I feel like there's going to be a lot of rangers.
Yep. Yeah, it's going to be. I'm kind of afraid of being a mage now because it's like I'm going to have like 400, you know, rangers on top of me.
Right. Let's see. So roles, as we all know, guys. So you have tank, Trinity. There is Trinity on there, traditional Trinity, tank, DPS, and support healer roles. I was like, I read it, and then I was like, ugh, stayed it.
You jumped.
Yep. Hey, there's a Podo. Podo, do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
Aloha, Podo.
So we have, so yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier, right? So although traditional roles are present, players should not feel branded by their primary archetype. So I think hopefully it says skill augments available through class system allow characters to be personalized outside of the primary role. Players also can double down on the archetype choice to strengthen their primary role. So for me, that's given me hope that if Missy wants to be a mage, but she also wants a tank, she could do that. Or if she wants to be a healer as a mage, she could do that too. Because right now, we have one tank, one healer. That's it. If you think about it, right? I mean, so this is me kind of judging the game now, right? So you're giving me one tank and one healer, and the rest are DPS. Not that much variety, right? So we're gonna critique this, Missy. So I know you don't really care for tanking, but all that. But to be honest, hopefully, like I said, hopefully if it's like, well, I don't want to be a pure tanky tank, but I want a tank, but I want to tank my way, like with Summoner. I will be a Summoner tank, and I will have my bears, and I will tank the crap out of stuff, right? But, you know, but if I have to be a tank, just to actually tank, you know, hopefully there's a little more sandbox, you know, about it. What's your thoughts on that, Missy? I mean,
I don't know. I was just thinking if I had a bunch of shots lined up, if I took a shot for every time you said tank.
Yeah,
I'd be hammered right now.
A hammered Missy. Missy,
I'd be blootered. I'd be out cold on the floor right now.
Well, you hear that, guys? So Missy's going to do a 24-hour drinking stream.
Oh, hell no.
We don't have to drink, you know, the whole 24 hours, but, you know, Poto will join you. Poto will join you. Which, everybody, we all need to encourage Poto to have Poto's cooking hour on the stream. We have aprons actually on our merch store that I told him if he actually does a cooking show, I would buy it for him. So he can do a cooking with Poto. And then he can wear the Crucible Gaming Network apron. It's going to happen, guys. Just got to encourage him.
Some amazing food.
Right? He does. He needs to share that with the world.
I know, not just with us.
Nope.
The world needs to see his wonderful food.
Well, if you guys want to see it, join our Discord. Poto will post there. Let's see. Power creep. Missy, go ahead and let's read that one.
All right. Power creep is a balance issue. When it comes to gear progression specifically, the idea is to create an open market that is not heavily dependent on soul-bound items, and having many items, sinks, and gold sinks within that economy that allows for the potential degradation and loss of assets within that closed economy, and not introduce items from the market the companies put in from a pay-to-win perspective or from a pay-to-convenience perspective that undermines the economy that players have built. That is a huge mistake that companies have made in the past, and that lends to the imbalancing of what designers may have actually balanced well. Yeah. Totally agree with that.
Yeah. All right. I guess